I am your host, OG the Beast, here with my legendary co-host, that man over there, Chill Town 32. What's poppin',
In the house. We in the house.
We in the house. Episode 1 of the Sports Behavior Podcast. We made it. We here.
In fact.
Hey, yo, before we get this show started, I want to give an exclusive shout-out to Players' Choice, man, because without them, we probably wouldn't be sitting here discussing these topics and bringing y'all this dope show. When I went on their platform and I saw how they was getting it popping, it woke me up, man, and it made me look at it like, look, I got to get up off my ass, and we got to get this show going. So shout out to Shaq, Dale, Jordan, all those boys over there at Players' Choice. Look, it's enough food for us to all eat and all get it popping, man. I love what y'all doing. Keep grinding, and go follow them on all social media platforms. Players' Choice, man. But enough of that mushy stuff. Let's get into this show, man. Let's get into this show. Look, I want to start this show off with what I like to call the spicy take of the day. Another shout out. I was swiping on TikTok, right? And I came across these guys. I think their name is Pick a Side Podcast. I don't know how familiar you are with those guys, but they got some dope stuff going on. And I saw them having a conversation. And I said, yo, how many people are actually having this conversation? It's very hypothetical. But it's a conversation that needs to be had, I feel like, in my opinion. And the conversation was, what if the Detroit Pistons drafted Carmelo Anthony instead of Darko Milicic? And if for all that don't know, the prestigious 03 draft, the famous LeBron draft, right? Bron goes 1, Darko goes 2 to Detroit, Melo goes 3 to Denver, and I believe Chris Bosh and D-Wade go right after that?
That's facts.
Imagine if the Detroit Pistons selected Carmelo Anthony with the success that they had after that instead of Darko, who absolutely did nothing and was a complete bust. Is it fair to say that Carmelo Anthony could potentially be a top 20 player ahead of D-Wade if he was to be drafted by the Detroit Pistons? What you think about that, huh?
Absolutely not.
No?
Now, This is where we have the divide. The divide is very simple. You talking to me right now about Melo.
Right.
Okay? You already been introduced to Melo. You got to rewind the clock back to 2003. You don't know Melo.
Right.
You only know Carmelo Anthony. And Carmelo Anthony played 1 season at Syracuse, was the tournament MVP,
right.
Made the All Big East team. They won the national championship. Not only did they do that, he was arguably the best player in college.
That's what I'm saying.
He was arguably the best player in college. Here's our problem that we having. Because at that time, Carmelo Anthony's talent is not in question. What is the question, however? The question is Coach Larry Brown. Now we having a problem.
Okay.
Because Coach Larry Brown, in his 30, 40-year tenure as a coach, he's only been once with a team longer than 5 seasons, and that's the Philadelphia 76ers, and that's after they got Allen.
Okay? No wonder he stuck around.
Up until that point, he had never been with – he had only been with one team, and that was Philadelphia. He hadn't been with nobody else. That includes college, right? He had been at – I believe he was at Kansas for 5 years. Other than that, Larry Brown was not a piano mover. He was a piano player. Right. Okay? So that Detroit team, not only was that Detroit team ready to win the championship, they got Larry Brown the year they won the championship.
Right.
So there was no experimentation type thing going on.
I mean, would you call it an experiment, though, as talented and as gifted a player as Carmelo Anthony was? Even at that time, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's hard for me to believe that you acquire a player with this type of ability, this type of scoring ability, which most would say Detroit was kind of lacking in. Now, I know they had Rip, they had Tayshaun, they had Chauncey. Chauncey was more of a playmaker, wasn't really a scorer. You know, Rip was the guy. But can you imagine incorporating, not at the expense of somebody, that's the key. Even if you draft Carmelo Anthony, right, and you don't take Darko, correct. In my opinion, you bringing in Carmelo Anthony, who averaged 21-5 his rookie campaign. Should have won Rookie of the Year, but they gave it to Bron for reasons I don't have an understanding for. He took his team to the playoffs and the whole 9, but that's neither here nor there. You acquiring this. It's not at the expense of nobody. You acquiring this. Even if they bring him off the bench and let's say he averaged 18 and 5 instead of 21. That could be of some assistance. And now you're talking about the inevitable happening. The Detroit Pistons did win the NBA championship, beating the Lakers in, 6 that year? 5, I think?
5.
They beat them in
Mop
5
the
that
floor
year.
with him. Mop the floor
So that's
with
a ring for Melo. Now we're talking about a Melo who got like 27,000 points as we speaking right now, right?
Should have 30,000. We got jerked 2 years.
That's true, right? So now we got a ring with Carmelo in his first season on some Magic Johnson type shit, right? Mm-hmm. So then in 04, they lost in 7 to the Spurs. You mean to tell me?
05.
I mean, no. They won in 03. Okay, so what you can – no. 2000, 2001, 2002 was the Lakers.
2003 was the Spurs.
2004. Okay, so 05, they lost to the Spurs.
Okay.
The following season in 7 games. So, I mean, it's like 7 games. You mean to tell me that year Melo averaged 20 and 5. I think he was hurt. He got hurt. He got dinged up. So you mean to tell me with his scoring ability, you couldn't get a game? Just Melo by himself couldn't get a game against the Spurs?
Once again, you still have not been you already know Melo. You ain't been introduced to him yet. Now, what I got to make sure that you mention, I got to make sure that you understand. We can't leave that out. And why can't we leave that out? Because I want you to fast forward the clock to the 2004 Olympics. Okay? In the 2004 Olympics, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Carmelo Anthony are on that Olympic team. Is that correct? Yeah. They are on that team. Do you know that Carmelo Anthony averaged a whopping 6 minutes a game on that Olympic team?
Hey.
Dwayne Wade averaged 17 minutes a game on that Olympic team. LeBron James averaged 11 minutes on that Olympic team. This is the future of USA basketball.
Yep, no doubt.
Who's the head coach?
Coach K, wasn't it?
Nope, Coach Larry Brown.
Okay.
So rewind the clock back to 2003, 2004.
You dicing this up.
Larry Brown is coming in. Larry Brown is coming into this unit that lost the year before in the Eastern Conference Championship game, which means that we right at the door of winning.
That's what makes it so sweet, though.
We right at the door of winning it, absolutely. But you know what I'm not going to do? I ain't playing this kid. I'm not doing it. Not only is he not playing him, he's going to screw Melo up. The best thing that happened to Melo was not going to Detroit.
You think so?
Larry Brown would have wrecked him.
You think so?
He would have wrecked him.
I could see it when you put it like that. I didn't consider the coaching and how that could affect Carmelo Anthony in the long run. And also, you know, what they had going on. And the one knock against what I'm trying to present as a notion would be that the fact that they didn't need scoring. You know, because during their run, they was pretty successful. Multiple Eastern Conference Finals appearances, lost to, in my opinion, better teams outside of maybe the Cavs in 07. You know what I'm saying? They probably should have beat them even without Ben Wallace. But the key thing here is Carmelo Anthony could have lucked up into a situation and been a winner, even if it was by accident. Like, I'm just here giving you 17 a night. Next thing you look up, I have a great finals and I'm a 2-time finals MVP. If that does happen, let's say Larry Brown don't give him the time. Let's say Melo comes off the bench and he's giving you 16, 17 off the bench, right? And he has one of these finals that's just like undeniable. He goes off for 40 in one game, which he's very capable of doing. He bags the finals MVP. Now we looking at a guy by the age of 23, 24 years old. He's a 2-time champion, finals MVP. Now we get to having this discussion. And then you fast forward 3 to 4 years, the Pistons start to split up. You know, after they lose in the first round, the following year after losing to Boston in 6, which was fair.
Right.
They, like I say, they lost to the better team. Then you got Carmelo balling out like he did with Denver, just going crazy, averaging 25 plus a night for, let's say, 6, 7 straight seasons till he gathers up what he's, you know, around where he's at. Let's say he's not at 27. He's at 25. 2-time champion, finals MVP. We talking about, and that's if they lose, because they went to the Eastern Conference Finals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive seasons, and one time they went to the NBA Finals in that span. I'm talking about 2 times,
twice
NBA Finals in that span. So it's like, even if we just give them that, You know, let's say they beat the Spurs. That's 2 championships. We're not even going to talk about the 07 Cavs. You mean to tell me with Melo they couldn't pull that off? So we potentially 3-4-time NBA champion by the time he's 25.
Absolutely not. Because we're going, no way. And the reason why is because we cannot discount Larry Brown. He was only there 2 years.
Okay, I get that.
No, you don't, OG.
I understand what you
don't.
said.
You keep saying you get that, but you don't. 2 years he was there.
I get it, man.
Okay, in the 2 years that he was there, they was championship years.
Right.
Don't forget, he was gone after they went to the NBA Finals. Right. Now, well, he could have played in front of Tayshaun Prince. No, Larry Brown was not putting Tayshaun Prince on the bench for Carmelo Anthony.
Defensively.
Tayshaun Prince, number one, played 4 years at Kentucky. He was a vet.
To be honest with you, it probably wouldn't have been for Tayshaun. If anybody, it would have been for Rip. And I really couldn't even see that at the time, even though Melo was a way better scorer than Rip. So it's kind, and that's the only notion that you could knock on this theory is those guys was a well-rounded unit. Everybody had a role and they executed it well. They had success. A 6-year stretch that was crazy in the Eastern Conference. So it's like Melo would have ruffled that. And that's the only thing you could, because he's a ball stopper. So that's the only thing I think, besides the Larry Brown issue, that's the only pushback I got, is Melo possibly could have ruined the flow of, the way they like to play the game.
And stop saying Melo. We talking about a kid who's 1 year out of college.
Carmelo Anthony.
Okay, at this point,
in
2003, in 2003, the 2003-2004 season, Chauncey Billups been in the league 6 years at this point. Okay? Rip Hamilton been in the league 5 years at this point. Ben Wallace been in the league almost 9 years at this point. They just got Sheed at the trade deadline. He had been in the league almost 10 years at this point. Tayshaun Prince is the only one who was new. Corliss Williamson. That was a bomb squad that they was on. And they was together for a long time. We not bringing Carmelo Anthony, who, coming out of college, was something to see, onto this unit and thinking that he's just going to walk right into the starting lineup, or not even walk right into the starting lineup. Let's take that out. Or he's going to get major burn on this unit.
I could feel that. I mean, even if with a guy like Melo, the way he could score it in bunches, I don't even think he need major burn. If you giving Carmelo 20 to 25 minutes a night, he can get you 17 a night.
Well, see, that's the problem that we having right there. He's not getting 20 to 25 minutes a night. He played on the Olympic team. He got dudes like Sean Marion and Lamar Odom playing in front of him. He playing 6 minutes under Larry Brown.
On this squad, how could you deny that? If they practicing and you see how this man work, how could you deny this kid? You think Larry Brown would have denied this kid like that?
Absolutely. Ooh. You saw what he was doing. You saw what he did. You just heard what I told you, him being on the Olympic team. Lamar Odom, Sean Marion. LeBron. These dudes is playing in front of him. And we're talking about Melo had already been 1 year removed. His rookie season was already over. First team all rookie. Yeah. He gets with Larry Brown in the Olympics. He playing 6 minutes.
Yeah.
6 minutes a night. So what makes you think that this dude is getting on the Detroit Pistons team that's already ready to win a championship? Carmelo ain't played he ain't played 1 minute in the NBA. Larry Brown would have wrecked him.
Even with them having Ben Wallace, you think that's the reason they took Darko? Could that be? Because I can't find a logical explanation for why they would take Darko over one of these wing scorers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got the shot at D-Wade. You got a shot at – D-Wade was a dog at Marquette. It's like, what makes you take Darko?
Now, what you got to take under consideration –
when you got Ben Wallace.
Right, and you got to remember the time that we're talking about too, OG. We can't leave this out. So in 2003, this is the influx of the Euro.
Yeah,
the game is changing.
True.
So you got Dirk Nowitzki. Darko might be the next Dirk Nowitzki. He might be the next Kukoc. This is the guy that we're going to build it around over the next couple of years if he pans out. Carmelo Anthony is an afterthought, even though he's clearly better than this dude. And we don't know that at the time because he just came out of college. So we don't know Melo yet. We do know Melo now. We didn't know him then. And the influx of the Euro makes Darko so much more attractive. We got a 6'10" guy who was killing it in the Euro League, destroying everybody. Well, we could get him as a top 5 pick, and he could be the future of our franchise. So we're going to go with him, who is pro-ready, who's played against pros, as opposed to Carmelo Anthony, who's just come out of college, 1 season. So 2 seasons removed out of high school. Now we got to go with the Euro. We
Well,
have to.
Speaking in retrospect, in the words of Michael Jordan, big mistake, dude, because we know where Darko's at now and where Carmelo's at, on the verge of potentially being able to win his win a championship. So,
They absolutely want that back. Can we
definitely,
rewind?
definitely.
Can we go back?
You know, you can say what you want about the Lakers, but yeah, let's move on.
I'll tell you what, my man. It's interesting that you talk about what ifs, because we got something called Chilltown's Corner,
Mm-hmm.
and in my corner, I like to bring up things that spark the interests of other people. So you brought up Carmelo Anthony. What if the Pistons would have taken him? What would he have been? Right? I got another guy for you. And I don't bring up a lot of what ifs, but I got another guy for you. When I was a kid, this guy played at the University of Maryland. The Boston Celtics drafted him with the number 2 pick overall in the 86 draft. His name was Len Bias. And the question, what if Lenny would have lived? What would he have turned into? Well, we got to do a little bit of backtracking to see who Lenny was. When Lenny first got to Maryland, he was raw. And when I say raw, I mean fish raw. I mean steak raw. But he was one of those 16-ounce porterhouse steaks that you got to beat it up. And once you cook it, oh, my goodness, man. You get – oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to cook it right, though. Right. You have to. So his first season at Maryland, he's 7 points a game because he's raw. We don't really know what he is. He's also coming right after the great Buck Williams, who used to play for the New Jersey Nets for 8 years and was an all-star and was an all-NBA performer. So he was the next in line to be one of the great power forwards coming not just out of the ACC, but out of Maryland.
No doubt.
So the next season, which was the 83-84 season, was his sophomore year, he came back better. And when I say better, I mean that 7 turned into 15 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did it turn into 15 and 8, my man was ACC
Player of
the
the year.
ACC tournament. He was the ACC tournament MVP. This is the same ACC tournament that got Jordan running around,
right?
Sam Perkins running around.
Him and Jordan
Johnny
had a
Dawkins
little battle, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely, they did. Johnny Dawkins running around in it. Guys like this are running around in the ACC, and this dude who is a sophomore wins the tournament MVP.
No doubt.
So now the question isn't if. The question is here he comes.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's the talk of the town in the ACC. This is clearly the best player in the ACC. Jordan on his way out. Mark Price is still running around. John Sally, guys like that. But there's no question. This dude is the real deal. He's going to be the player that everybody needs to pay attention to in the ACC. And what does he do the next year? He's 18 a game, right? And then the year after that, it's not a question. He's the best player in the country.
When he had
he's the best player in the country.
25 a night. Let me guess. 25 a night.
About 23.
23.
23 a night. All right, 23 a night, and he's the best player in the country. And now, remember, we're talking about a big man league. And in the draft, which would explain why which would explain why the Trailblazers went with Sam Bowie, because it was a big man league. Right. You needed a big man. So when the 86 draft comes up, there's no question that Lenny is the best player in the country. But Washington goes with Purvis Ellison because it was a big man league. The Boston Celtics, just so you know, they didn't work out anybody else. Lenny was the only guy that they worked out. They didn't work out anybody else in that draft.
Not to cut you off, but you know what's crazy about this situation? We talking about the Boston Celtics, who are in 1986 able to capture the number 2 pick in the draft. This is the Boston Celtics team that's arguably putting together one of the greatest teams of all time in 86, and they sitting at number 2, right? Why? Because they traded a guy that had success, marginal success in the playoffs, Gerald Henderson Sr.
Correct.
Senior. Y'all might know his son played for the Bobcats, I believe.
He did, 10 years.
Yeah, and Gerald Henderson Sr., his father, who averaged, get this, 13 points and 4 assists. I don't even think it was 13. It might have been like 12 points, 4 assists in the playoffs. So Seattle decided to trade first round pick to Boston to acquire this guy. And that first round pick inevitably became Len Bias. And you gave it to Boston, a squad that's already stacked up. And it's crazy because That year they won like 30 games. They was like the third worst team in the NBA. So it's like, damn, we thought, it is what it is, and it really wasn't, because I don't think Henderson averaged more than 14 points with Seattle since he got traded in 80, and that was in 84.
Mm-hmm.
He got traded in 84 for a pick that was 2 years, in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Then that pick ended up being Len Bias, and it's crazy. So you could go ahead and explain.
You also left out the fact that who won the NBA championship that year? They got the second pick.
Boston. Boston. That's what I'm saying. That's what make it so crazy, chat. That's what make it so crazy. Like, you winning championships, but you picking second in the draft. And put this on notice. This was when the draft was, picture this. This is the 80s. This is the mid-80s. Mm-hmm. So this is when the draft was envelope. Lottery envelope, right? It wasn't how it is now. It's envelope. So it's a lot of hands being touched in certain areas of this envelope. And I think it's fair to say now that we can look back in retrospect that some of this shit might have been rigged up.
Maybe.
For Boston to acquire this number 2 pick, knowing that Len Bias would be available. It just seems too good to be true. Because now what does that do? You setting up Boston for the future. Larry Bird would probably have like 4 or 5 more good seasons after that at a high level. His backstory.
Not 4 or 5. Stop right there. Not 4 or 5. Absolutely not.
So we're talking 86, 87, 88.
Bird made it clear. If Lenny would have lived, I would have quit after the 88 season. He said that.
Word?
He said that. If Lenny would have lived, I would have quit after the 88 season. That's how comfortable he felt about this dude playing behind him. Not only that, he also said, quote, if we draft Len Bias, I'm coming to rookie camp. So I want you to fast forward the clock to, and by the way, this is the league MVP for the 3rd straight year.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I love about Bird.
You being a Chicagoan, you can appreciate in 1992 if the Bulls end up with the number 1 pick and they draft Shaq and Jordan goes, if we draft Shaq, I'm coming to rookie camp.
I'm coming to rookie camp. Oh my!
Does that even sound correct?
It's just, that's why you gotta love a guy like Larry Bird, man. He was so selfless. He didn't mind letting other guys eat, and it's like that would be setting Boston up so tough if they lock a Lenny Bias for years to come and maybe make them relevant in the 90s, which they were completely irrelevant. They didn't get relevant until they drafted Paul Pierce in 98, and they were still irrelevant into the 2000s. Absolutely. So they had a 10-year stretch to where they was just a bombshell. You know what I'm saying? So acquiring a guy like that, of that caliber, could have changed the entire dynamic of how the Boston Celtics franchise.
I'm not
talking championships. I'm just talking about marginal success, enough to stay relevant in the Eastern Conference.
Because we're talking about a guy who, if you're a GM, all right, my man Beast is a GM, and Len Bias is coming out of college, and a bunch of different guys are coming out of college. You see him on tape, and your thought process is, tell me what I need to do because we need him. That's who I'm building my unit around for the next 10, 12 years. Right there.
No doubt.
Whoever we get after that, I'll deal with that in the future. He had a money mid-range game.
6'8", 220.
He had a money between 15 and 20 feet. He had a money mid-range game. He was a ridiculous athlete.
I was just about to say
ridiculous athlete.
Athletic.
He was a dog. Do not think for 1 second that you was going to push him around, because that was not happening. What the rage was that he had, it was a controlled rage, though. It's kind of like Sweetness running. Like, it was a violent run, but it was under control, how Sweetness used to run when he was with the Bears.
Not to interrupt you, King Fly, yes, this will be on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Yes, will this be on YouTube?
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's when it comes to Len Bias, though, man, I sit here and try to think of a fair comparison. I can't find one. Who could you compare Len Bias to?
I want you to think about.
You think so?
Think Melo, except meaner. Think Melo
and a better
that's
athlete.
Where I was going.
Melo was mean now, but it's just the difference between Melo and Lenny. Lenny gonna throw it down. Melo gonna embrace that contact and try to finesse you. Lenny gonna throw it down,
Melo,
and it might be on your head top.
Except meaner. And Melo, and think about Melo playing with a rage where he's looking at Melo is serving you, but it looks fun.
Right.
Lenny's serving you, and you're looking at him like, I do not want to cover this
mean.
guy.
It's nasty.
I don't want nothing to do with him. I just don't.
He's a headache.
I don't want nothing to do. If anybody else cover him? Because I don't want nothing to do with him. He just looked like
he's a problem.
He was just gonna get whatever you were gonna get from him, and you were gonna take it too. It wasn't like it was a situation where he was patting you on. No, you're gonna take this.
You're gonna
deal with it. And this is what it's gonna be like, not just right now. Every time you see me, this is what it's gonna be. So again, we talking about a guy who was a franchise player. Bird quits in 88. They end up getting, if Bird quits in 88, they end up with Reggie Lewis. Mm-hmm. So now I got two building blocks with both Lenny and Reggie Lewis, that I can build my unit around. And you know who Red Auerbach is, who was the mastermind. Losing Lenny and losing Reggie wrecked them. Set them back 15 years.
And that's why I say, you know, what would the landscape of the Boston Celtics been in the 90s? I think they would have been able to maintain some type of relevancy because they was just dumpster fire in the 90s.
They were.
I'm not saying championships or nothing like that, but it's just dumpster fire. What's going on from New Zealand? How y'all feeling today in this chat?
Yeah, New Zealand in the
house.
How
y'all feeling today? I'm hoping y'all enjoying the conversation we having. Me and Chilltown trying to bring y'all something, man, that we've been waiting on and is highly anticipated. Yeah. And I know y'all been waiting on it. A lot of y'all been reaching out to me, wondering if I'm going to start a podcast and who was going to be with. And y'all wanted it to be with this guy, and here we are. But we going to segue to this. Cam Newton was cut by the New England Patriots. And I don't want to say it's crazy, but I do want to say it's crazy because a lot of people are telling me, hey, OG, but they didn't have to cut him. Even if Mac won, they didn't have to cut him. Why did they cut him? Well, it's simple. I don't even think, to be honest with you, to make it fair, to really say, like Julian Edelman made a statement on Twitter and he posted it on Instagram. He said Cam Newton did not lose the job to Mac Jones, which is interesting. I'm thinking they drafted Mac Jones. For those that don't know, Bill Belichick and the head coach of Alabama are very tight. Nick
That's
Saban.
His man.
So
That's his man.
They talk often. They keep in contact with each other often. Who was the quarterback at Alabama last year? Mac Jones. Who did the Patriots draft in the first round? Mac Jones. So it correlates with each other. And what I believe is it was Cam Newton's job not to lose, but to win. Because I think they had the intention on, hey, if Mac Jones shows us even a little bit of capability at this position early on, that's who we going with. I think Cam Newton, as foul as it may sound, I think Cam Newton had to come in there and dazzle these guys for them to say, okay, he's got to sit out. But to me, Cam didn't really look any different than how he looked starting off the season last year. And it's kind of like, did he really progress in the offseason? Did he really take his game to the next level? You know, or is this the same old Cam Newton? And even though it may be a decent player, I think we'd rather go with the rookie who may be slightly less talented than Cam. Not athletically, of course, because we know what that is. But, you know, Cam may be the better quarterback now, but I think our future lies with Mac Jones. So I don't even think it was necessarily about the play or lack thereof by Cam Newton in the preseason. I think it's more political than anything. What do you think about that?
I will tell you this. We got a guy who's coming to an organization that's straight-lined. What is it called? The Patriot Way? There's a way we do things around here, okay? There's a specific way we do things around here. And what we can't have is we can't have feathers being ruffled on any level, no matter what it is. So Cam Newton last season, they go up to Seattle. He throws for almost 400 yards, and he's actually looking like the Cam Newton of old. He ends up getting COVID. That derails their season. Completely derails their season because he was never the same after that. All right, so the Patriots go, Cam's coming back this season, but this is probably it for him. At least here, this is it for him. So we got to think about the future. Like you just mentioned, Coach Belichick and Coach Saban are friends. Well, not only are they friends, they work together in Cleveland. They was on the same staff.
Right.
All right. They worked together in Cleveland. They was on the same staff. Now, I think the plan was to bring Mac Jones in, and Cam was going to groom him, kind of like what's going on in Chicago with the Bears right now. That is not Andy Dalton's job. He's gonna. That is not his job. That is.
He got it,
and he does know that. That's his job to groom Fields. That's what Cam was going to do. He was going to groom Mac Jones. I'm going to show you how to be a pro. So after this season, I'm going to be gone. However,
but would it have been Cam starting while he's grooming him?
Absolutely,
or he's grooming
that's the
him from
plan.
The bench? Okay,
because you get Mac Jones at 15 initially, and the initial thought is he's not ready.
Right.
But maybe he is. Well, how do you feel? How you figure that, G? Well, they run the same kind of offense at Alabama that they do with the Patriots. So this situation isn't that much different than what I was dealing with down in Tuscaloosa. However, we're not ready yet. We're gonna relax, and we got to get back to winning too with the Patriots. So Cam comes in. He's looking good, but he's not looking great. Mac is actually looking better than what we thought.
That's the key right
there.
I think that is the biggest issue.
He's looking better than what we thought. Not only is he looking better than what we thought, now our eyebrows are raised like, wait a minute, maybe we might want to consider going with this guy. Now we have Now we go from having a veteran grooming a kid to we got a quarterback competition. When you're in a competition, the last thing that I want to do is give you an edge on any level. So what I can't do is I can't miss a week of practice. So the team gets to look at him for an entire week without me. That's killing me. So what happens is Cam is already dealing with not being vaccinated. So that's ruffling feathers also. Because what we can't have us go into the season and I don't know, we're 6-2 and Cam comes down with COVID again. He's going to miss 2 weeks. That may derail us again. I don't know if the kid is ready.
But if they decided to go with him from the jump, though, after the smoke cleared, they inevitably decided to go with the kid, which is the decision I think they was leaning on from the moment they drafted him. I don't think Mac had to do much, but he did. So even if they decided to start Cam knowing what they got in Mac, let's say he does have to leave for 2 weeks. Does that really derail anything, knowing what you got in the kid?
Well,
I mean, it's like you could still continue and have success with the guy that you know. And of course, we talking because we know what happened already, but they got faith in this kid. I think personally, Bill Belichick is hitting 70. Bill Belichick is damn near, if he ain't 70 already.
He's 68.
He's damn near 70. And he's in a position to where, hey, yo, we got to do this shit, and we got to do it now. Because if we don't do it, we ain't got no time to be bullshit.
No, we don't.
And I think, not to say that Cam Newton would have been that, but like I said at the beginning, Cam has to leap off the page, and he didn't. He probably looked the same. It's like, okay, well, Cam is Cam. You know what I'm saying? But this kid here, he's interesting. Not only could he be interesting out there, but he could also probably put asses in the seats because Mac Jones wasn't the most popular name at Alabama, but you put a number 10 on him and put him in that Patriots jersey, all of a sudden these fans start gravitating because they could feel that permanency. With Cam Newton, they know that's temporary. They could feel that permanency when it comes to
Well, you could get it's somebody that you can get behind because this guy's the future. And not only is he the future, we going with him right now. So we can watch this guy develop and we can watch our team grow very much like we did with Tom Terrific in 2001. We could watch our team get better. We could watch the development of him as opposed to him sitting on the bench, which I'm not opposed to. I think the best thing,
Me neither.
A prime example would be the Bears. I think it's great that Justin Fields is backing up Andy Dalton right now.
Even better one, Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. People talk about Patrick Mahomes all the time. Just so you know, Steve Young sat behind Joe Montana for 5 seasons.
That's another one.
Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for 4 seasons.
Mahomes sat behind an Alex Smith that threw for 4,000 yards.
4 seasons.
So it's like, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, There's nothing wrong with that, and I'm not against what the Patriots did, but I understand it because he can't be a backup. Not over there. Not with that rookie behind him. The conversation would be about Cam Newton, even though he's not even the starting quarterback,
Regularly.
if you kept him on the
Regularly.
roster. So the Patriots did what they had to do, and they let him go just so the rookie has a clear mind going into practice.
Regularly.
Every week in and week out on a regular, going into the quarterback's room knowing he's the guy and he does not have to compete for his job down the line. But let's move on.
Understand something really quick. You can't move on with the new chick as long as the old chick around. You can't.
It's hard. It's not only hard, it might be impossible.
It's impossible. As long as she here, you can't move on with the new chick. Dak Prescott wouldn't be Dak Prescott as long as Tony Romo on that roster.
Speaking of new chicks, let's get into the Instagram guy, Ben Simmons. This man wants out of Philadelphia. Ben Simmons wants out of Philadelphia, and Philadelphia want the whole kid and caboodle, a big bag of groceries for this cat.
They don't want
so it's letting me
they
know
want the whole store.
Yeah, they want the whole store, man. So that's letting me know that Philly is trying to say, see, look, we did it. They don't want you. We tried. They don't want you. If Philly really wanted them gone, they would have came up with a reasonable price, and Ben Simmons would have been on the first thing smoking out of Philly. But they really don't want him to leave, so they hoping time heals all. And Ben Simmons says, look, we could work it out. But I think the longer we wait, the more frustrated Ben Simmons is getting. And maybe at this point, with all the slander that he's gotten, his inability to shoot the ball, he's clogging the lane, Embiid can't get it popping. All of this is boiling over, and he hears it. Like I said, introducing this guy, he's the Instagram king. This man is always on social media. He's reading. He's seeing what's going on. I just think it's time for a fresh start on both sides of the spectrum. You still have a playoff contention of a team with Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris and these boys. Just get rid of Ben Simmons. Bring somebody competent in to fill his role. They even said, I was in my group chat with my boys. Shout out to my boys, STB. I was in a group chat with my boys, and these boys say, somebody posted in there, they won't trade Ben Simmons. If they trade Ben Simmons to Golden State, they want Steph or Clay in return.
Oh, my God.
Can you believe that shit?
My God.
They had the audacity to say, if they were to trade, if the Golden State Warriors want Ben Simmons, they need Steph or Clay in return.
Y'all dudes ain't serious, yo.
This is getting ridiculous.
Y'all not serious.
On top of that, tell them to trade. Tell them to trade. What they want? What they want, Unc? What did Philly report that they wanted for Ben Simmons? What
they wanted? Oh my God! So I'm sorry that this is incredible. This is absolutely
That's crazy.
This is absolutely incredible. So we're talking about Ben Simmons, who is an all-star. We're talking about Ben Simmons, who is an all-league defender. Drew Holiday, Maurice Cheeks. This is over the last almost 40 years, over the last 35 years. Are the only two players that Philadelphia has had over the last 40 years to average 8 assists or more outside of Ben Simmons. So Ben Simmons is a baller, okay? No question about that. What they're doing right now, where they're delaying the inevitable, they're trying to slow this thing down to make sure that his value drops. Because what's going to happen is the longer they delay this, the more teams are going to back off. And the more teams that are going to back off, he's going to have to report to training camp now because we can't find a suitable partner. And we did try.
It may get to it may get to that point.
So they asking the Golden State Warriors hand over both the rooks, Kuminga, Moody, and 4 ones. So you as a general manager, you have to know when you hear that these dudes are not serious.
To be honest with you, though, if they offered those 2 youngsters and 2 ones, at the end of the day, would Ben Simmons be worth that if you go to State? To be honest with you, I think to answer my own question, hell yes.
Yeah, if you can get 2 ones, yeah, absolutely.
2 ones and those 2 rookies.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, I may even consider 3. Now, he's not worth it. But if you want to talk about bringing the best out of a player, his inability to shoot the ball would not matter if he was wearing a Golden State uniform, because he would just be another Draymond Green. You would have to, of course, find a trade partner for Draymond Green and get him the hell up out of here and let him walk. But I think he's a better version of Draymond Green. He's a great defender. He's a great rebounder. He can handle the ball better than Draymond Green. Who's to say you can't put him in a position where he needs to be guarded, which is the paint? Let him grab a rebound and go. Now you got 11 on one wing, you got 30 on one wing, and Ben Simmons running the fast break. Who's a better finisher than Draymond? So now he's a threat in that department to score. Ben Simmons is at his best when he's grabbing the board and going. He's a freakish athlete. I think Golden State would be the best option for a guy like Ben Simmons. You cannot tell me another team that'd be a better fit for Ben Simmons than Golden State.
Here's your problem. The problem that we having is him not being able to shoot. He actually can, because I've seen him in workouts. The problem is that it's upstairs. Right. The problem is that it's upstairs. He's one of those guys who he doesn't trust the work. Soon as it goes the other way, he goes the other way. And that screws him all up. Now, the Sacramento Kings came in, and Philadelphia said, if we got a deal, Fox and Halliburton have to be in the deal. Not either or.
Right.
I need both of these guys in the deal in order for and by the way, we also need 3 ones. So I'm saying, like, when I talk about being serious and as opposed to sabotaging the situation, which is what it looks like you guys are doing. Because you guys aren't serious. When I look at Ben Simmons' game, Ben Simmons is a baller. I think it's upstairs. You ready to give up on him. You over him.
Listen, when it come to Ben Simmons, back when people was on the hype train, I was telling people, you could ask any of my boys, I was telling everybody, he's not elite. He's not elite. He's not elite. Period. I was called all type of goofy, stupid. I don't know what I'm talking about. 3 years later, it's 16, 7-7 for the 4th consecutive season. No improvement. While you got other guys around him like Trae Young, who's improved, Luka Doncic, who's improved, DeAndre Ayton, who's improved. All of the guys that came before and after him have improved
tremendously.
And it's like,
not just improved tremendously.
You still in a shorter amount of time than he's had. And it's like, bro, what else do y'all? Now everybody coming around. You know what? OG, you was right. Ben Simmons not elite. You know, this and that. You know, so now people get it. And it's just sad to see how Philadelphia is handling the situation because, like you say, they're going to mess around and sabotage this thing and probably get pennies on a dollar for Ben Simmons.
I was a little less skeptical than you. However, I was down to give him one more season. I was down to give him one because after this season coming up, I'm thinking to myself, he comes back the same guy, I'm out. I was giving him one more season, Beast. That was it.
I can't.
I was giving him one more. I wasn't giving him 2 more. I wasn't giving him 3 more. I needed to see a different Ben Simmons this season. And if I saw the same one, I'm out.
And that's what you would have.
If I would have seen this, if I see the same Ben Simmons, I'm out.
It's psychological, man. And I think he need to see a therapist. And they question his work ethic over there, too. So a lot of trainers and people in the staff.
Right there, that's another thing that we're talking about because it's bad enough that mentally there's a problem. But now I gotta worry about your motor. Now I gotta worry about your work ethic. That's one thing that should never be questioned. That I know you're gonna show up every day and I know you're gonna give me everything that you got. If I can't get that from you at a minimum, I'm out.
It makes sense. And that's what I'm saying because I don't care who you are. When you've been doing something, when nobody's watching, when finally people arrive, you're going to want to show them what you've been doing while they wasn't around.
Trust the word.
And that should be shooting the ball. If Ben Simmons is really putting the work in the offseason and really shooting every day, 500 shots on some Ray Allen shit, if he really shooting every day, when he comes to the game, he's going to be ready to perform. Look at my new toy. Watch this. I've been working on this. I've been shooting this shot 500 times a day for the past 3 months. I'm definitely finna show y'all.
Peace.
His lack of, he's not even attempting. If he's attempting and he's missing it, that's one thing. Damn, get better. But you not even taking the shots. That's what's killing me. But
why you think Kobe and Shaq clashed like they did? Because Kobe in the summertime, this is what I'm doing in the summer, and I want to show what I've been doing.
Quiet as it's kept, a lot of people had the same mindset as Shaq to where they feel like the offseason is my season, and I'm going to get in shape on y'all dime, on y'all time.
Kobe was like,
y'all
this is what I'm doing in the offseason, and I want to show you this.
Right. And Shaq was getting in shape as the season progressed. 25 games in, now he's finally the Shaq he's supposed to be. But we're going to switch up to something back to football, right? And the season is coming up right around the corner. We got football, y'all, on Thursday. The Dallas Cowboys versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this Thursday, man. I cannot wait. But before the season, in the next show, we're going to try to run through as many of the position skill players as we can. I want top 10s for these positions. Today's show is going to be quarterback. We come back again on Tuesday. We probably going to do 2 more or maybe finish them out before the opener on Thursday. But for now, we just going to do quarterbacks. Give me your top 10 quarterbacks, excluding. Let's assume Deshaun Watson is not playing.
So he's out.
Right? He's out. Deshaun Watson is out. He got some shit going on. That's neither here nor there. We're going to talk about that on another note. Let's assume he's not playing, because if he is, to me, he's a top 5 quarterback. But let's assume he's not playing. I want your top 10 quarterbacks going into this.
So I'm not going from 1 to 10. I'm going from 10 to 1. And I'm going from 10 to 1 based on what I've seen and what I feel like I'm going to see this season. So at 10, I got Dak Prescott.
Okay.
The year before Dak got hurt, he threw for almost 5,000 yards. Led the league in passing. Last season, before he got hurt, he was on his way to another 4,500-yard season, and I think the Cowboys would have been a lot better than what they were. They shored up that defense, so that's going to help him out tremendously. They got 8 new guys on defense, so that's going to help him out.
And they needed all 8 of them.
He need every last one of them, no question about that. So I think that they're going to be better, and I think Dak is going to move into being a top 10 quarterback this season. At number 9, I got Matty Ice. And the reason why I got Matty Ice, because we in year 15, and regardless of what you're seeing, he can still sling it. And it ain't 10 guys outside of him that can still sling it like him. Still. So Matty Ice is 10 for me. At number 8, I got Lamar Jackson. Lamar has to throw the ball a little bit more for me, but as long as he's in your backfield, you have to game plan for him. And he's not going to kill you. In fact, not only is he not going to kill you, he's going to be the reason why you win most of the time. So
his winning percentage is crazy.
Absolutely. And the fact that he actually won in the playoffs this year for the first time, he's just going to get better. At number 7, I got Justin Herbert. He just looks to me, the more I watch him, he just looks to me like a more athletic version of Dan Marino. And he's just going to get better. Now he got Keenan Allen on one end, and with the big-time tight ends that he has, the thing that I'm worried about with him is I'm worried about this new coaching staff. Are they going to switch him up? Because whatever they were doing looks like it was working, which suggests to me, keep doing that because it's working. At number 6, I got Matthew Stafford. Matthew is on a better team this year with the Rams than he was in Detroit, and Matt could sling it with the best of them. I don't like
That's no doubt.
I don't like his win percentage against winning teams. However, this is the best team he ever been on. And I think that this year, this catapults him into being not just an elite, but a championship contending quarterback. Now I'm moving to my top 5. And I can't stand the guy because he's in our division and I hate everything about him, and that's Russ. And Russ just moves the needle. That offensive line has gotten better. DK Metcalf is his number 1 target. Right under him, I have – who do I have? I'm sorry, I skipped one. I got Josh Allen at number 5.
Okay, Allen at 5.
I got Allen at 5.
Okay.
And I think the Buffalo Bills are a Super Bowl contender with Emmanuel Sanders and Stephon Diggs. I think they're a Super Bowl contender, and I think he takes a step further this year, Josh Allen does, than he did last year. In front of him, I got Russ, and I just think that Russ he's just a consummate pro. And if you want a shot to win, you got to have him on your crew. Absolutely.
And you got Russ at 4.
I got Russ at 4. At 3,
okay,
I got that bad man.
I know.
I got that bad man at 3.
Wait a minute. Which bad
Rodgers.
man? Because it's Stephen A. Oh, you got Rodgers at 3.
I got Aaron Rodgers at 3. I got that bad man at 3. And I can't believe
You gonna shake the world up, man.
I can't believe I stole that. So, but I'm gonna give it back. That's Stephen A's thing. So
that's Stephen A. That's Stephen A. thing. That's why I say, like, is he referring to Stephen A's bad man? Because if so, that's A-Rod. Or is you calling Tom Brady a bad man, which I'm assuming is your number 2?
No, it's not my number 2. In fact, Patrick Mahomes is my number 2. And Patrick Mahomes is my number 2, and he's just going to get better every year. Tom Brady, to me, is LeBron James. As long as he's playing, I ain't betting against him, and he's at the top of the list. 4,600 yards last season. Beat both Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes in the playoffs. 44 years old. In this league now today, where you can't really touch the quarterback like you used to, he can probably play another year or 2, especially at this level. As long as he's around, my money, you can't get me to bet against him. You can't do it.
Yo, chat, this is spicy, and you know I like spicy. Look, Tom Brady at number 1. What can you say about this? Chat, is this a thumbs up or a thumbs down? I need to know this in the comments. Tom Brady at number 1. He's gonna really ruffle some feathers with this. Hey, I like it, but he's gonna ruffle some feathers up. He got the bad man at 3, Patrick Mahomes at 2, and Tom Brady at 1. I don't know how I could compete with that type of spicy, but my list, for every reason that you explained when you labeled your quarterbacks, I got the same explanation for mine. At 10, I got the rookie, Justin Herbert, with a sophomore now. Doing what he did and didn't complete the entire season, I think he threw for like 4,300 yards, 30 touchdowns. He was exquisite, man. But I need to see more on a consistent level. Let's see if he has a sophomore slump or not. But for now, I think he's good enough to mention the top 10 over a guy who I think may have gotten snubbed in my top 10, and that's Ryan Tannehill. So he's not in the top 10.
It was between Ryan and Dak at 10.
That's what I'm saying. I think Dak should be solidified. It was between, for me, the rookie or Tannehill, which I think Tannehill is deserving to be at the top. It's probably 12 top 10 players. But moving on. Number 9, I got Matt Stafford. Sling the hell out of the ball. Never had any help outside of Calvin Johnson in Detroit, and now he's got a team that's contending for a not only playoff spot but Super Bowl-bound type of contention over there in L.A. At 8, I got Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray is being underrated. He's not in a lot of people's top 10, and if he is, he's at the bottom of the list. I will not disrespect Kyler Murray for the rookie. Murray's ability to get loose with his legs, and also he's got a cannon for an arm and underrated velocity, man. Look out for Murray. Look out. They got A.J. Green over there now. They got Andy Isabella with the speed. They got a lot of weapons. At number 7, I got Dakota Prescott. Love Dakota Prescott. I love me some – as an Eagles fan, I love me some Dakota Prescott. Mississippi State, I love me some Dakota Prescott. That offense, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Zeke, that offensive line is healthy. Dak Prescott is a dark horse MVP candidate if he can stay healthy this season, no doubt about it.
For almost 5,000 yards.
At number 6.
For almost 5,000 yards,
Yeah, at 6, I got another dark horse MVP candidate. He might not even be a dark horse because, you know, the favorite is Patrick Mahomes. But this guy here, Josh Allen, I think they're going to throw the ball a shit ton in Buffalo. And I don't know if they really improved the running game. They didn't improve the running game, so we just got to assume and hope that the 2 running backs that they had already improved themselves talent-wise. So Zach Moss and Devin Singletary but I think Josh Allen may lead that team in rushing again for the second consecutive season. And with an extra game on the year, I don't see why Josh Allen couldn't throw for over 5,000 yards this year. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised if 3 guys threw for over 5,000 yards this season. At number 5, I got Lamar Jackson. Listen, his winning percentage is through the roof. You cannot deny all he does is win, in the words of DJ.
He does.
Man. The disrespect for Lamar Jackson needs to stop. Just because Lamar doesn't do it the way you want him to do it, don't mean he ain't doing it, man. He's only losing to Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. Stop the disrespect. Lamar Jackson is the MVP, and he's coming back for another one this season. Watch what I tell you. I just named you 3 dark horse MVPs: Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Dakota Prescott. One of them 3 guys I could see getting the MVP this year. Right. Lamar Jackson just might rush over 1,000 yards again. Number 4. Again. Number 4, I got Thomas Edward Brady. Look, this is Father Time. Is usually undefeated, but he's defeating and beating the hell out of Father Time. Look, Tom Brady is 44 years old. By the time the season ends, he'll be 45 years old. He's on some George Blanda shit, if y'all don't know who that is. But Tom Brady, man, like Unc say, 43, what he had, 44, 4,500 yards?
4,600 yards, 40 touchdowns.
4,600, yeah, and he had a slow start. I don't think he had 40 touchdowns. He had something in the 30s.
No, he had 40 touchdowns and 12 receptions.
He had 40?
This is what I'm trying to tell you, man.
That's crazy.
This is what I'm trying to tell you.
Tough. That's tough.
Stop betting against this dude. I can't do it.
I get it, but I don't at the same time. It's just I can't
second in the league in touchdowns.
Okay, look, I get it, but I don't, because Russell Wilson is a dog. He's a dog, and that's who I got at number 3. Russell Wilson. Legs, arm, any way he can give it to you, that's how you gonna get it. Aaron Rodgers, you want to talk about a bad man? After Lamar Jackson won that MVP, Aaron Rodgers won it when they thought he was done.
I did.
The Packers was ready to sell this man for a bag of chips and a 6th wing from Sharks with no mouth sauce. They was ready to give up on my man Aaron Rodgers. It was over with. I don't know what y'all eat in Jersey, but that's what we eat here in Chicago. And that's what the Packers was ready to give up on that man.
They was about to, in Jersey, they was going to sell him for a blimpie and a 6-pack.
See, now, look, I don't know what that is, but he know. All my Jerseyans or whatever they call y'all out there, that's what it is. Aaron Rodgers came out here slinging his ball left, right, up, down, and threw 18 touchdown passes to that bad man Devontae Adams. And number 1, it should be what's understood, don't have to be explained. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league by a decent margin.
So
great as Aaron Rodgers, as great as Aaron Rodgers is, Patrick Mahomes is Aaron Rodgers on steroids. Stop playing. He makes his offensive line look like the Great Wall in the 90s. And them boys ain't worth a tinker's damn. But he make them look like that because of his ability to throw from any angle on the field. Backtrack. His arm is strong enough to throw a frozen rope 70 yards down the field while backtracking. This is the ability of this kid. And Tony Romo had the audacity to compare him to Zach Wilson?
No.
Stop the presses, man.
No. And Tony know the game. That's surprising. Tony know the game.
Tony know the game more than anybody. Yeah. Like, he knows the game better than he was a quarterback. Yeah. You got the nerve to compare Zach Wilson to Patrick Mahomes. You crazy. But that is my top 10. To reiterate, Justin Herbert, Matt Stafford, Kyler Murray, Dakota Prescott, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and that man, Patrick Mahomes, boy.
It is.
All right, now, we like to end this show because we getting close to time. It's 8:59. We want to cut it at 9, but we going a little bit over, and that's cool. We in the mode. We in the motion. We rolling. We want to end this show with a segment I like to call Questions from the Fans. Now, the only way for you to participate in this segment is to be following us on TikTok, Sports Behavior Podcast, and on all social media platforms. Now, make sure you following the Twitch. Make sure you following on TikTok, because that's where the questions are coming from. I'm digging into these Q&As. I'm picking out 2 to 3 questions per episode, and I'm answering them live on the podcast every Tuesday, every Friday night, 8 p.m. right here live on Twitch. You can see your question be answered All you got to do is shoot over there to Sports Behavior Podcast, TikTok, hit that follow button, spam up them Q&As. But we got 3 questions. And question number 1, let's see what we got. Question number 1 is from KB the Fat Guy 74. That's my man. He say, not a sports question, but in your guys' opinion, who is the GOAT of rap? Now, if you ask, matter of fact, I'm going to toss it to the Jersey boy. I'm going to toss it to Unc. Let me get your opinion. Who's the GOAT of hip-hop?
It's a difference between my best. It's the difference between the best and my favorite.
Me too.
Right?
Me too.
My favorite of all times. Biggie's the best that I've ever heard. All right.
Ooh,
Biggie's the best that I've ever heard.
I think this is why KB asked you this question, because Biggie his favorite rapper.
Biggie's the best that I've ever heard. The problem is that Biggie wasn't around long enough. So when you talk about greatness, longevity has to be in that. And when you're talking about longevity, that dude from 8 Mile, stop playing, man.
Ooh,
That dude from 8 Mile and his rhyme style, and he changed with the times. Not only did he change with the times, he became feared by MCs.
So that's your GOAT?
Nobody wanted to see him. Nobody.
That's your GOAT?
And I had a tough time between him and Drake.
Ooh, no Hove.
Nah. And I dig Hove. I'm a huge Nas fan. I'm a huge Hove fan. Slim Shady something different though.
He is lyrically.
Slim
man,
Shady something different.
He might lyrically be the greatest to ever do it, but as far as total body of work, completely dominating your era in a space to where it's a young boy's game, but you in your mid-30s, while these other guys is out here in their early 20s, mid-20s, are supposed to be trying to eat your lunch. But while they trying to eat your lunch, they don't realize you already ate, and they eating rat shit while you eating steak. That's Drizzy Drake.
I can get with that.
He's the
I
GOAT.
can get with that.
Drake is dominating his era like nobody's ever dominated. If you think Jay-Z is the GOAT, ask me why Lil Wayne was outselling him. Ask me why T.I. was moving units. Ask me why this man's GOAT, Eminem, was moving more units than him. Nobody is moving more units than Drake right now.
8 Summers.
He's dominating the streaming era.
Let me ask you this question real quick. Who been around for a decade of summers with hot shit? Who?
Drizzy. That's
what I'm thinking about. Who's been out
completely
for a whole
dominated
decade?
his era. It's crazy how dominant this dude has been. But that's my GOAT. He's also my favorite rapper, so I may be biased. But, hey, on another note, Unc kind of agree with me because he number 2 according to him. But moving on, second question is from Kamal G0102 says, who was more important to their championship team? While we were talking about Carmelo Anthony earlier, the question is Paul Pierce or Chauncey Billups? I'm going to let you kick it off.
I think that Chauncey Billups was more important to that unit because he was the engine that made them go. Yeah. So when they won the championship, not only did they win the championship in 2004, but that group made a run for 6 years where they was in the Eastern Conference Championship. That Boston unit, just so you know, Kevin Garnett was the only one to average 20 a game in the playoffs that year that they won the NBA championship. None of them other dudes did.
In the playoffs. In the regular season, Paul did.
Right, in the regular season he did, but in the playoffs, Kevin Garnett was the only one who averaged 20 a game in them playoffs. Mm-hmm. So KG was definitely the difference in what they were doing. Chauncey Billups, they not going nowhere without him. No, in the words of Cedric Maxwell, Magic was the wheels, Larry Bird was the engine. Yeah. That's who Chauncey Billups was with the Detroit Pistons. He was the engine.
To be honest with you, I know this may be unpopular to the people that know who I am outside of this. I agree with you. When I first looked at this question, I'm like, yeah, that team didn't have star power, and it was compiled of just guys that knew their role and they played it well. You know, Tayshaun was like a point forward kind of, but he was more of a defender. Mm-hmm. You know, you had Ben Wallace, who was the anchor in the paint. He wasn't letting shit fly in that area. You had Sheed, who was the stretch four, who could also handle the ball if he needed to. Then you got Chauncey, who's your floor general. You got Rip, who's your scorer. So they all had roles, and that's what made them as special as they were. And I feel like the engine was that of Chauncey Billups. I just think, like, Boston fit well together. That's why they was able to make it work so quick. You know, unlike other teams that just get together like that, especially when you bringing in 3 guys that was number 1 options on their own respective squads. Right. Coming off of some of their best years of their careers too. Ray Allen was averaging like 25 a night before he got the boss, in that first year. You know what I'm saying? So I think Chauncey Billups is probably means more for all of the reasons that you name and what I just illustrated as well to his team than Paul Pierce. Last question before we get out of here is from AKS 19965. It's a 2v2 question. This person says Luka and Dirk versus Iverson and Embiid. Who wins this 2v2?
Well, Iverson and Embiid, Iverson is going to make sure that Embiid eats. So ain't going to be no question of whether or not Allen is just going to be chucking, because he ain't never played with a big man like that ever. And he knows that that's where my bread is buttered. So he going to make sure Embiid eats. Luka, on the other hand, Luka still look like he more difficult to play with.
That's true.
Luka don't look to me like the kind of guy who is comfortable with getting off the peel. Even though Luka averaged, 7, 8 assists, he still don't look like he that comfortable getting off the peel.
It's forced.
It does. It looks like it's something where he got to do it. Like, all right, I'll involve you.
Exactly.
I will involve. Instead of I look forward to involving you. So I'd have to go with Iverson and Embiid.
But to use your argument on the other side of the spectrum, Luka Doncic has never played with a guy of the caliber of, a Dirk. I mean, you could call, I believe it was Dirk, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's Dirk. You could call Kristaps Porzingis the unicorn all you want, and I do feel like he was misused with the Mavs, which is one of the reasons why Carlisle stepped down. But I think if you put Dirk, a man of his stature and his ability, on a squad with Luka Doncic, he'd be forced to use him. And this is a 2v2 setting. So I think he'd be forced to use him. But even with all of that being said, Luka would have to guard Allen Iverson.
Good luck.
Dirk would have to guard Joel Embiid.
Good luck.
And this is a 2v2. So this is street ball.
Good luck.
This ain't full court. So all of that assist shit don't matter. All of that shit goes out the window. We talking about mano y mano. Luka got a little bag, but it ain't no Birkin like AI. He's breaking you down. Luka would not be able to stand in front of AI. Joel Embiid would not be able to be guarded by Dirk Nowitzki. So I think usually when it's coming to shit like this, I say whoever gets the ball first. But in this case, it really won't matter because Embiid can guard Dirk.
Yes, he can.
But Dirk can't guard Embiid. Point blank, period. So I'm taking AI and Joel Embiid in a landslide over Dirk, who's one of my favorite players all time, and Luka Doncic. So that is our show. Successful to me, in my opinion. I feel like we did a great job. Look, episode 1 is in the books. For those that don't know, we every Tuesday, every Friday night, 8 p.m. Central Time, we are here. We will be here presenting y'all with this fire. Me and Unc. Go follow us on all social media platforms. Please do that so you can stay posted and updated on what we talking about, the ideas and topics. We need all of that. Q&As, ideas, topics, whatever y'all want to talk about or whatever y'all want us to talk about on the show, let us know what's going on to everybody in the chat. I appreciate everybody stopping through. We love y'all. And if you did not catch this show live, it will be on YouTube. Sports Behavior Podcast. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel because this whole entire show will be posted on YouTube for you to watch it at your own discretion.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate everybody coming by. Unc, you got anything to say?
Check us out. You can find me at Chilltown Hoops on YouTube. Take it light, but take it.
Yes, sir. We out, y'all. We love y'all. Thank y'all for coming.
Be easy.
We out.